in West Texas right now. Welcome to the next hour of, we're going to do an amazing into all things AI when it comes to trial prep. And I'm so excited to do this because one of the things that we've been doing for the last however many months with these webinars is really trying to tailor them towards the interests and needs that we hear from the people who attend them. And obviously AI is such a huge thing right now. And obviously when it comes to the legal sector, I'm a lawyer myself, I'm a law professor. So AI is everywhere and I also practice. So I was in court this morning. Like the things that I'm doing with AI and the things that I can't wait to show you with AI over the next hour are really going to be beneficial to you. So while people keep rolling in, let me just say a couple of things. One is everyone, let's just get lively in the chat throughout. This is where always the magic sort of seems to happen. The Q&A, we're not going to really save Q&A time for the end. What I'm going to encourage is that people ask them throughout. If there's a prompt idea or a question that you have, get in the chat. I'll try and answer them. And then I'll always play a little catch up with the chat. Sometimes it actually distracts me, but I really enjoy it. So that's one thing. The other thing is sometimes there are some audio issues but that's usually just a matter of correcting settings. So if anyone has any audio issues, let people know in the chat and we'll have someone from our team sort of give some instructions. You can see it already there in the chat about troubleshooting the audio issues, but it doesn't seem like people are having any, which is great. Okay, so here's what we're going to do is we are going to spend the next hour going through a real sort of in real time engaged way that I use what you're about to see, Transcript Genius, a specialized product to prepare for trial. Now, trial, obviously we all know that most cases don't get tried, but we do know that you still need to prepare for various phases, and sometimes as if they are going to trial. That's the critical thing. So this is going to be everything. This is going to be like motions practice. This is going to be how can it help you really dig into the details of depositions. This is going to be how you can really prep a witness for a hearing. This is going to be how you can prep a witness for trial. This is going to be, do you need help with jury selection questions? I mean, everything that touches every aspect of trial or hearing prep, we're going to go into over the next hour. So other thing that I want you to know, people, and you might see a poll or two pop up throughout this about AI usage. What I've learned over the last sort of year, especially talking so much about AI with different practitioners, is that there are varying levels of engagement and use of AI. I want everyone to feel two things at the end of this hour together. One is that if you pick a specialized tool, an AI product that really tackles an area that really takes a lot of your time, your day-to-day professional time, you're going to see such incredible benefits. That's one thing. So I become a real AI evangelizer for those reasons. The second is it's not that hard to vet the security of an AI product so that you know that you're using it in a way that is not compromising any client data. That you can go about your sort of representation just incorporating AI into that process. So that's one thing. The other thing that you need to know is obviously, like, I'm a law professor, but I also work for Steno. I work for Steno because I believe in Steno and I believe in Transcript Genius, which is the specialized tool that you're going to see me use. Everything that you're about to see me do over the next hour will not cost you a cent or your clients a cent. If you book a job, Steno is a court reporting company. If you book a job through Steno, then you get access to the technology, which is the latest and best and most high performing sort of AI out there. You get access to that at no additional cost. So just be cognizant of that, thinking of all the time that you'll save as we go prompt after prompt after prompt through single and multiple transcripts and documents. It's a real time saver. Okay. I think that is really what I want to say. Like, there's no reason for us not to jump right in. I'm going to move this screen over here so that I can operate. What you're looking at right now is Transcript Genius. This tab up here is how you access this technology. And as I said, when you book a job through Steno, what you're seeing right now is a list of all of the most recent depositions that have come to your firm dashboard, which is the sort of tech portal, the portal that we have that you can use to access all of our technology. This is where they all live, okay? It's unfiltered, and this is where you get to decide and begin the process of figuring out which document, which transcript you want to interrogate. And we use that word really deliberately. Interrogation is exactly that. It is treating a transcript or a document like you're cross-examining it. First things first, though, like you're not obviously not going to interrogate all of your transcripts across all your cases at once. I'm just showing you a list of all the cases that are in this dashboard, in this environment, and I'm going to filter by one, okay? This matters because now you can see all of the transcripts that are associated with this case. And you'll also see that I've uploaded, because obviously it's not a transcript, I've uploaded the complaints in this case. We're going to get to that in a second. But I want to start small, and I really want to ramp up, and just so you can kind of see how easy it is for this to just bring a great deal of value to your workflow. So I'm going to pick a transcript here and interrogate it. Once I hit interrogate, what you're seeing is the transcript on the right side. That is going to matter a lot here in a second, because you're going to want to be able to see the transcript in the same screen as the answers that Transcript Genius gives you. You'll see over here there's 5 sort of prompts that you can use to get you going. And I'm going to start with a real easy time-saving prompt. I'm going to click this right here, and it's saying, I'm asking it obviously to generate a full-length transcript summary with page and line numbers for me. Now, in the span of the next 30 seconds, you're seeing this give you an answer in real time to a couple hundred pages of transcript. It is taking the entirety of that deposition and doing what AI does brilliantly, and what we have built Transcript Genius to do even better than your regular sort of AI vendor or your AI product. And that is summarize it and give it to you in a narrative format. Critically, though, what we've also done, and I'm going to change the formatting of these citations up here. You can see it's how easy it is to do that. After every single statement of fact, you're seeing that it's giving single or sometimes multiple page line citations. So let's just pick one at random here. This is saying that this witness was employed by Avant-Garde for this time frame. And if I click the link, you're seeing that that's exactly where it's drawing the source information from. It is taking the information from the transcript and it's putting it right there for you to verify in real time. Like, I used to do appeals and post-conviction work, and a huge part of that work for me was sitting with a volume of documents that were a part of the record. And the first part of the process was, what do these things mean? What's in here? What is the information in here? Like, condense it. Let's make it actionable. What can we do with it? What information are we looking for? Anyway, I see some questions in the chat, and I'm going to obviously get to some of those in a moment. But you're seeing right now, as I said, like, the ability to verify is critical to the process. You've got to do it. Every single state bar out there, no matter what you're doing on a case, you have to verify the information that AI is telling you is true and correct. Or if it's not, you got to be able to sort of correct that. So here it is. Here's the summary of a single transcript that was delivered to you in real time. But this is, again, I want you to think, if we're just progressing through this demo and through this interaction really linearly, slowly, every single prompt, we're just going to ramp up the functionality of what it can do. So one thing I always like to say when it comes to AI use is, don't ever let that first prompt of yours be the last prompt, right? The joy of a really robust interactive AI product is the fact that it's not delivering some static information to you that you then can't do anything with. You can take this summary and realize that you might want more information about, let's say in this instance, give me much more information about the incident itself. And then I'm going to say also, give me a timeline of events in table format. Right? So here are 2 things at once that I've done. One is I've asked it to take the entirety of the transcript and not just focus on one single thing in the transcript that matters to me. And in this case, it's the incident itself. So I've asked it to really go into great detail about that. Let me slide this up so you can actually see this being churned out in real time. And then I've also asked it to sort of give me another answer to this question, which is, all right, whatever this witness testified about, like whatever order of events she testified to, I really want to see that put in like that timeline, that sequence of events. And I really want that to be done in a different format. And again, you're seeing how thorough it is, right? You're seeing the citations churn out. You're seeing the immediate response and aftermath. All of that had to do with the specific question I asked, which was around the incident itself. And now I've asked it to give me a timeline of events, again, in table format. And this is a wonderful thing. Like, this is where you can see that it's only able to give you the level of information that exists in the transcript. So here, it says, it's seconds later, right? Here is a specific down to the actual moment and the timestamp, that second that a video begins. But either way, it's giving you that with the page and line citations. And it's also identified some other things that I didn't even ask for. In this case, different safety factors. So again, the length and thoroughness of this answer in the span of 2 minutes, we've got a full narrative summary of the deposition itself. And I've asked it to focus on the incident itself. And I've asked it to do some basic data extraction and give me a timeline of events in table format. This is just on a single transcript, right? You can imagine the use cases for this. You can imagine any other question that you might have. And I'm going to kind of peek at the chat to see if people do have questions. I think there's a great question from Gilbert here about whether or not you can ask isolating questions and like get it to focus on specific pages. Absolutely. You can get it to really give it the parameters and the guidance that you want to give it, and it'll churn out an answer focusing specifically on the context and rules with which you asked it the question. Basically, think of it like this. If you were to have an associate or an assistant or someone a human who came into your office and you were to give it that assignment, just give this AI the exact same assignment. Give it the same rules. Just be as conversational with it, as specific with it as you like. Tell it what to focus on. Tell it what you're not interested in. Tell it what format you want the answers in, and it's going to be responsive to that. I'm kind of looking at the chat here, and keep these questions coming. Kendra has one about uploading any document to Transcript Genius. Love that question, Kendra. We're going to get to that. That's a brilliant question, but the answer is you can upload other documents for sure. Okay, so this is a single witness interrogation. Since we've got enough time together, usually what I do is immediately shift to a different, like a multi-transcript interrogation, but I actually want to do something in between. Here we've got an expert, right? Let's take this expert and now let's do the exact same thing. Oh, I'm just going to interrogate this one transcript. Let's take this expert and let's like go into an expert specific question. How many times did this expert, I don't know, testify and give an answer, I don't know, without consulting any records? And then I'm going to ask a more broad question. What are the strengths and weaknesses of their testimony? Again, I might, if I was doing this sort of outside of this, I would probably ask each of those questions individually because I'd want the AI to focus the answer specifically on each question. But I really want to use something like this because I want to showcase just how powerful it can be. It can tackle both of these questions at once. That's not the issue. It's just the thoroughness of the response. But like from an expert perspective, imagine if you had 5 transcripts where this expert had testified across different cases, and you were able to ask this question about expert testimony and when and where they hesitated, or answered a question without consulting. You'd be able to pick up on patterns. You can really, really, really sort of prep to cross-examine this expert very quickly based off their prior depositions and the way that they've testified in other cases. So here I asked it to, like, where was this guy testifying without consulting records? And then there are multiple times where this person did exactly that. right? This doesn't necessarily matter, right? This is the joy of AI. It gives you all of the information, then you decide what to do with it. If I am getting ready to cross this witness or challenge their credibility at a Daubert hearing or a preliminary qualification hearing, I might not necessarily care that he's not testifying off his own diploma, right? Like that's not what he needs to do. I would love to see his CV in advance, but like this isn't necessarily meaningful. Here's where it gets much more meaningful. What does this mean? What basic information should he have had? It hadn't reviewed other depositions, didn't know some qualifications. Maybe all of this matters, maybe it doesn't, but it's not going to self-select what's important to you. It's going to give you the information. It's going to isolate that information and allow you to make it actionable. So this is a really, really, really powerful way in the expert-specific realm of getting ready for an expert hearing. So now maybe based off that, I can say I represent. Let's keep it on plaintiff's side. I represent plaintiff and am preparing for a Daubert hearing. Give me a line of questioning. Challenge this expert's admission. Let's just leave it at that. Okay. While it's giving this answer, a couple of other things. I live in Texas. So Texas Rule of Evidence 702, 703, this is where we're talking about experts and witnesses. And there's also case law out there that governs, when higher courts have decided that expert admission was appropriate or inappropriate, and the factors that they consider. Maybe what I also want to do in a question is not only just ask it this, I represent plaintiff, and it's not maybe it's, and then maybe what I also want to do is copy and paste that rule of evidence, copy and paste the holding from, the high court that gave the governing court and say, I'm preparing for a Daubert hearing. Give me a line of questioning to challenge this expert's admission. I've also included the relevant rule of evidence that the court will be deciding this expert's admission by. And here is the protocol. Here's the test that this court uses to determine whether or not an expert was, considered admissible, or this is when it was reversed. The admissibility of the expert was reversed, whatever it might be. Give it as much context as you like, and you're going to get even more thorough answers. And again, maybe the thing that I really want to focus on is, because I've only got 5 questions per category, maybe I want 40 questions in this contradictory and unreliable opinion category. I can go down here and say, all right, build out the contradictory and unreliable opinion line of questioning, make it much, much, much more thorough. And here, I didn't even ask it for this, but it's giving me some closing arguments. And we can always drill into that a little bit more. So I'm kind of peeking over here at the questions and just seeing if any are relevant to this one. And yes, Eric, we can prompt for multiple depositions. We're going to do that here in a second. Oh my goodness, Bradley, you're asking the same question. And then Julia, let me just reiterate and pull this up before I jump into the next line of questioning. This is how secure Transcript Genius is. I'm a lawyer who works for Steno. We have lawyers on our team. We built this with the idea of legal practitioners in mind. And you can see up front these 2 big questions about its security level. We've got SOC 2 and HIPAA compliance, which matter tremendously. And then the big question right now around AI usage, is AI retaining any of this information to get smarter, get trained? No, the answer is no. We obviously internally are keeping, we obviously have the transcript internally, but the AI itself is not getting smarter or getting trained based on the information you give it. We're really proud about this level of security, but this is here to let you know that it's built thoughtfully and built with the idea of legal practitioners in mind. And you can always, always, always go and view, or your IT team can go and view and monitor the controls that govern the security around it. So let me go back over here. Okay, so I think we've really spent some time. I mean, I love single transcript interrogations because obviously there's a lot of power there and you can get up to speed really easily on what lives inside a transcript. But this to me is where really the magic happens. And I'm going to do 2 different things with this. First, I'm going to do what you both, a couple of people in the chat have asked, which is let's run a multiple transcript interrogation. I'm picking, a couple of people here that are associated. These are all the documents that are associated with this case that live in Transcript Genius. And now we're going to ramp up the functionality tremendously. I'm going to ask it, actually, I want to go to a different case because this is a case that I know is going to really showcase. Let's do these three that are associated with this case. And I mean, that just shows, it also shows you how easy it is to shuffle around through interrogations. I'm going to ask in this case, I'm going to say, when and where did these witnesses contradict each other? Give me a list of questions to challenge credibility. It's very forgiving with typos. For some reason, it's always when I'm doing things more publicly that I can't seem to spell things correctly. But what you're seeing over here, the transcripts are actually, they live here, they're just condensed. Now it's about 600 pages of transcript, and you're seeing the answer now churn out in real time, again with the citations. But now it's not doing like a hard data extraction. It's not looking for timelines of events, although you could do that. I'm just slowly, again, ramping this up. What it's searching for now are contradictions. And for many reasons, that matters tremendously. I'm going to change the formatting of the citations. Again, easy to toggle on and off. This reduces it to footnotes. But basically what you're seeing here is that it has absolutely identified some key contradictions. And in this case, it's who made a phone call, what the communication around break issues was like. The thing that I love about this, though, is that in this instance, the contradictions are across 3 different transcripts. In this instance, the contradictions actually are across 2 transcripts. And I love that because it's giving you the information that matches your question. It's not self-selecting. It's not just because I asked 3 transcripts a single question and there's not and in this case, only 2 of them have it. It's not saying that the contradiction doesn't exist. It's really doing a thorough examination of the contradictions themselves. And then you get to see down here just some high-level ideas about how to ask each of these witnesses questions pertaining to each of these contradictions. Now, as you can see, right, like this isn't thorough. This isn't, if I was getting ready to cross this witness and I just had these 5 questions, obviously that's not enough. The joy of this is then for me to say, oh, okay, let's just focus on Melanie in this case. And here's what I want to do is I will give this some more guidance. Focus on Melanie. Give me a thorough list of cross-examination questions. So now I've taken the information that it's given me, and now I'm drilling in little by little into witness by witness what's going on. And it's also going to be using all of the information, since I've asked this question to 3 transcripts, it's really, really, really going to be focusing on her, but taking the information from the other transcripts as well to build the questions. So as you can see, right, like the power of this is just immense. I mean, we're 24 minutes into what I'm showing you. And if you think about what we've already done on 1 transcript, which was a witness in another case, the expert transcript on another case, now 3 different transcripts on another case, assessing it for contradictions and building a line of cross-examination. I mean, the time saving is just real, and it allows you to really focus on the part of your job that is not busy work, right? So here we are. Here's our cross-examination, and here's the way that I can challenge the credibility of this witness through a cross-examination. And as you can see, it's still writing an answer, and it's being tremendously and incredibly thorough, just specific to her. And maybe I want to ask the same exact question about the other witnesses, about Randy and about Raymond. Like, I can do that. And then all of a sudden, I've built a 30-page outline about how to cross these witnesses. And I didn't even ask it for, I don't think I've ever asked it for follow-up hammer questions, but here are some. And as you can see, this is the source material down here that goes exactly to the page, part of the transcript, where it's getting the information from, so that not only do you have the question, you have the spot in the prior testimony where if this witness was to start getting a little squirrely or give a different version of events, you have the impeachment information right then and there. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a second and say two things. I'm opening up my Google Docs because this is where my life sort of lives when it comes to trial prep. Take a look at this. I've got all of the information that it's given me, and now this is what I do with it. I put it over here, and you can see the formatting is super clean. You can see that all of the citation information actually lives down here, so it goes with the answer. And you can see that, I mean, that's a 6-page answer. If a partner came into my office when I was a younger associate and said, go through these transcripts and focus on this one witness and just give me a sense of how we can cross this witness based on the weaknesses in our testimony compared to the weaknesses in other people's testimony, that was a week-long, at least a week-long project. I did that in 2 minutes, right? So the time saving is immense, but now the thing that is the joy is I don't have to worry about the information gathering itself. I can now spend my time focusing on what to do with this information. And as I just showed you, you take every single one of these answers with you, as simple as hitting this copy and paste, and then exporting that data to whatever document it is that you're building. And you can see here, it's just that easy. All right. Let's see what people are saying. Lots of questions about you get replaying this. Yeah, you'll be able to have access to this a little bit later. Okay, Thomas, this is a great time to answer a general AI question. By the way, you're gonna get at the end of this, if you stay till the end, you're gonna get a prompt guide. So all of the prompts or other prompts as well that you're seeing me use, and others that are much more thorough, you're going to be able to download and have access to at the end across all different phases of case prep and trial prep. So stay till the end and get that you can, make sure that you use that as a resource because it's such a great resource to get things started. You're seeing Dio's name in the chat. Shout out to Dio for really, really, really thoughtfully compiling a lot of the prompts that we have seen people use and like produce some wonderful results. So that is her handiwork and it's brilliant. So stay till the end for that. Thomas asked a question about, okay, why would you use Transcript Genius? Like, what is setting Transcript Genius apart? I would say there are 3 critical reasons that Transcript Genius is different. And I'm answering this from, again, I'm a lawyer. I'm answering this from a lawyer's perspective. The first is security, right? I can use this AI product knowing that it's built with the right security parameters that mean that me, as a lawyer whose license is governed and issued by the State Bar of Texas, I'm using an AI product that is built in a secure way that is not going to compromise my ethical obligations. Now, you can get security externally if you get the right subscription to Claude or to ChatGPT, but that's obviously going to cost money. So the second thing is cost. Everything you've seen me do for the last 30 minutes, if you book your deposition through Steno, is not costing you a cent. And you have access to the most recent version, in this case, of Claude. And Claude is brilliant when it comes to legal nuance, especially when it comes to multi-transcript interrogations. Our engineering team is exceptional at testing and building this product with that in mind. So we make sure that it's thorough, and we really make sure that it's giving answers that are tailored towards legal practitioners, understanding what their needs are. And the third thing is exactly that. If I was to ask this question to Claude or ChatGPT and upload this document, you are not going to get an answer that is, 1, as thorough, or 2, as heavily focused on the citation quality itself. Reliability and predictable reliability of AI answers. Someone was talking about hallucinations and misinformation in the chat earlier. Like, this is built with the idea that the answers that it gives you are easy to verify right here in this moment, and that you don't, and of course there's a thoroughness to it as well. So you're getting a high quality answer that is much longer than you'd get externally. You're able to verify the output immediately in the same screen. It's not costing you a penny extra for any level number of, There's no limit to the number of interrogations. And then you can sort of take the information with you and follow up on it if you'd like, which you should, without, I mean, because it's not a static document, right? You can really engage with this as if you're having a conversation with an associate. So Thomas, that's my answer to your question about what's setting this apart. Joseph asked the same questions about ChatGPT. I would really caution people against using free accounts of ChatGPT when you're putting legally sensitive information in there. We don't know really what's happening with that data. There are ways, if you have enterprise level accounts, for example, but that costs some money to really tighten up the security. But you know, when you use Transcript Genius, that you don't have to worry on the security side about using it in furtherance of your representation. Okay, let's keep going. I love these questions. I get so distracted by them. Someone asked what files you can upload. This is a great question. Let's move into another, let's ramp this up even more, okay? I'm gonna go back to Transcript Genius and I'm going to filter out by the same case just for consistency's sake on what we were using before. And as I mentioned, right here, you're seeing all these depositions that were taken and they automatically arrived in the right format to your dashboard because they were booked through Steno. Great. Automatically here, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to tweak the information. You can adjust it if you like, but basically the information is here and it's ready to go. If you have other documents associated with that case, here it says upload transcripts. And this is obviously initially built for transcripts because of the unique formatting of transcripts and the page line citations. And, it's complicated. You want to make sure that when you're citing documents that have pages and lines that the accuracy is real. But it's also a really sophisticated AI product that we use. And so what I did here is I uploaded a complaint, the complaint that is associated with this case. And you can see the format is different, right? Like this is a file stamped copy of the complaint itself. You can see the signature on the back end. Oh, let me get all the way to the bottom. You can see. So this is, but it's OCR, and it's ready to go. I uploaded it. The format looks different because it's a PDF, but the AI is going to, we've built it so that it understands, it can cite to text files, it can understand PDFs as well, right? So let me go back. Actually, I should have done this a little bit differently. I'm going to filter through this case again, because what I want to do is spend a moment. I'm going to pick the complaints. Let's pick the plaintiff. Let's see. And let's pick an expert. Okay, I'm just picking these at random. I've got some more complicated prompts that I want to show everyone, and I wrote them out because no one really wants to see me type. Okay, another thing about this is not built with either side in mind. I do a lot of actual criminal defense work in West Texas. Obviously, there's a lot of plaintiffs' attorneys that use this, but the AI is agnostic. Right? This is not. It doesn't matter. There's no preference one way or the other. So I'm going to show you a couple of really, really great prompts here. This one is more sort of plaintiff focused. And I'm asking it to compare what the complaint alleges with what the witnesses actually testified to. And like, where does the testimony provide stronger evidence than what we initially pled? Like, I love this question for so many reasons, right? It's now taking the substance of the complaint and running it against two of the key witnesses in this case. So to those of you, I'm going to let this answer the question. To those of you who are asking, what documents can it handle? You know, it's going to understand any OCR PDF. Like, it's going to know what that is. The caveat there is that, because this is built with transcripts in mind, you're seeing that if I click a link to the text file of a transcript where it is citing, in this case, something that this doctor said, it's highlighting the specific part of this transcript because it's a text file and it can engage with text files much more easily. But when it cites to a PDF, formatting is going to look different because there's the page and line citations aren't always there. In this complaint, there actually are. But it's just, the format's going to look different. It's going to understand what the document is saying, but it's going to take you to the part of the PDF where the information lives, but it's not going to be as highlighted specific right now. But here, this is an amazing question to ask, right? Like I've got now the cause of action that is governing this case, and I've pit it against two transcripts that are relevant to this question and any others that might be relevant as well. And now I've got an answer, and it's also provided me with some strategic advantages from the testimony. It's given me things that I didn't even ask for, because AI is getting better at sort of understanding that if you ask this, then what else might you want to know? So I think that this is a really powerful question. Let's do another one from a plaintiff's side. I like this one because this kind of feeds into motions practice a little. Even though this isn't, this is a variation of motions practice. What facts from the depositions could support amending the complaint to add additional causes of actions or defendants? I've never asked these three documents this question before, but here's what it's saying. I don't know. Maybe this is an interesting question for you. Maybe it's not. But like the fact that it can do this, you've filed your cause of action, your complaint, you've deposed, the number of depositions have taken, and now we could actually add another cause of action based on the test. That's kind of a really interesting way to engage with the transcripts themselves. Should I do one more on the plaintiff side? Let's see. Let's do one more on the plaintiff side that's kind of interesting. And I'm focusing on this one because, as I said, we've slowly ramping up the functionality of how this product can be used. It started with single transcripts, then it went to multiple transcripts. Now we've got multiple transcripts plus the complaint, statements under oath, motions for summary judgment. Think of the other documents and things that Transcript Genius will be able to handle. The only limit really is your imagination. So take a look at this question. Now I'm asking for a progression of the plaintiff's injury from the complaint all through all medical testimony. I haven't included probably the correct number of depositions here, but it's still going to answer based off the number of depositions that I've given it. It's another way. Maybe I want this timeline in table format, but here you are. It's churning out an answer that is, again, incredibly thorough and all about not just data extraction, but picking up on legal nuances. So I don't know. I love this. This is amazing. Okay. I'm going to go. It's churning out that answer. Great. You see that in the span, again, of a few minutes, we've gotten a tremendous amount of information extracted from these three. I'm going to start a new interrogation on these transcripts, and let's run it from the defense side. What about this question? I love this question from the defense side. Whoop. I did not copy the whole thing. This is another sort of thorough identification of every allegation in the complaint that no witness has been able to substantiate with firsthand knowledge. That's just one of the primary jobs of sort of trial prep and case prep. And here are the instances. And again, with the citations. So sometimes I kind of see the answers and I just reflect upon times in my life where I was doing this manually, and the amount of time it would take to get these answers was just tremendous. I'm going to queue up one more defense prompt here because I think that this is another sort of higher level one. This is a defense sort of prompt. And you could, but again, I'm always asking AI to come at things from opposing counsel's point of view. In this case, I've asked it, which allegations in the complaint have been most damaged by deposition testimony? If I was plaintiff's counsel, I'd want to ask this question as well. And here we have, again, in real time, across all these documents, 3 different answers. Now, let's talk about limitations while it's churning this out. I think there was my chat is not open. I'll come back to the chat here in a little bit. Someone was there's no AI out there, none, that will take the contents of your discovery, every deposition, all of the things associated with your case, and give you the complete, thorough, correct, immediate, perfect answer to a question like this. It's not there yet. I mean, it's the ability for it to engage with more and more information reliably and accurately is growing with time. But you can't take all of it and put it in here and expect the answer to be reliable. Like, that's just not what AI anywhere is doing. So what that means is you sort of have to self-select these interrogations based off maybe the most immediately important documents or transcripts that are relevant to the answer to the question that you're asking. But let me go back to this case, because we've got the case up here with, let's say I'm going to take this witness, and let's take this guy. All right, I'm going to start a new interrogation. Same case. Let me copy and paste. Let's take this question, okay? I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to ask these three the exact same questions, but I'm also going to give it more context. Also, you gave this answer to the exact same question when I asked three other documents. These can't talk and type. Okay, so what I've done here is I've taken the same exact question. I'm going to go down here and take the answer. I'm going to copy and paste it. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to correct this, because that is a terrible spelling associated with this case. And I'm going to take the answer that it gave, and I'm going to put it down here, and I'm going to ask it the question. This, to me, is one of my favorite workarounds for the limitations that AI has. Because what I want as a lawyer when I'm engaging with AI is my absolute priority is reliability. I would prefer to ask it a question and it tell me one thing correct than 10 things that half of which turn out to be incorrect. So now I've got these like sort of dueling interrogations going. And I've got the documents over there, and I've got transcripts over here, and I'm asking for assessments similar on both. And I've given it the context that one answer, and I've given it to the, like, it's amazing, right? Now I'm really getting it to focus on the same issues across multiple transcripts and using the answers that it gave me elsewhere to guide new answers. And you're seeing it's extremely thorough again with these sort of assessments at the end, the internal admissions of neglects. Like it's incredible. So that is always my answer to the limitation question. We can't change what AI has, like, that's changing with time, with AI building and context capacity and how much it can handle at once. But what we can do is provide these, like, I think really thoughtful workarounds to making sure that it does give you an answer that is reliable and that you can use sort of rather actionably. We've got the complaint here. And again, let me do one or two sort of more neutral questions that I think are really beneficial. I'm going to go back up here. Let's just, for sake of cleanliness, I'm going to start this new interrogation. Check out this prompt. Okay, I'm asking it now to create a chart, and this is what I want in the chart. This is another way of basically mapping the allegations in the complaint across supporting testimony, the contradictory testimony, and the gaps in the evidence. Now, you're seeing that the answer is really condensed, but I'm going to get over here and get ready to copy and paste the answer. Because when you export this, it's super clean. The table format is amazing. You can edit it and adjust it super easily. But again, like the complaint allegation versus the testimony, like with supporting testimony, contradicting testimony, gaps in the evidence, and here we have, it's still going. I'll wait for this one to answer because I think this is a super powerful question. And then I have one more that I think is really amazing when it comes to complaint analysis. I'm obviously focusing on the complaint here. If you had an expert report and you wanted to pit it against the expert's deposition, if there were some, maybe even letters that were written or other statements, or the motion for a summary judgment, or the hearing on a motion for a summary judgment, like anything that like that, you can, as long as it's readable and it's OCR, you can, here we go. So as you can see here, the table is like very easy to adjust. You can sort of move the margins around, but this is the information in chart form that has the complaint, allegations, supporting testimony, contradictory testimony, and the gaps in evidence. That's just amazing to me. And then I want to do one more that is this, because I think this is super powerful too. It's basically, again, taking the causes of action in the complaint, creating a checklist of the elements, and marking which ones have testimonial support. You know, in a way, I kind of wish that we could do this with someone, and I know that this is impossible for a whole host of confidentiality reasons, but if we could take someone's case that they were working on right now and spend the last 45 minutes, as we have, going through what they want out of the documents, the trial prep questions, the specific questions that they have, like, you would see that in the last 45 minutes, we would have built the 100-page document with all of the information across these documents that is going to be most actionable to them. And as I said before, and I'm not trying to like sound telethon-y or like, is that even the word? I don't even know that's the word. I'm not trying to say, like, this isn't, there's no cost with this. You're just doing this because this is the tech that we think is really additive to a solid practice. And here you have your checklist right now, with some pretty fancy emojis. I've actually never seen this one before. Anyway, so these are some really great questions. We are about 13 minutes away from finishing, and I've just been sort of yammering at this screen for the last 45 minutes. So I'm going to peel back over into the chat and see what I've missed. Remember that sort of towards the end of this, you're going to be getting a copy of the downloadable that has some really great prompt ideas. At the end of this also, I'm going to put my email in the chat, and I want people to feel free to reach out if they have questions. So let me pull this over and sort of get back in the chat and see what questions. All right. I'm going to answer Juan Carlos's question. Again, are the files being uploaded in PDF or text format? Juan Carlos, I'm sorry, that's a great question. Here is where you can see that Transcript Genius can handle both. Upload transcripts, and you're seeing that it supports both file types. The citations on PDFs look different than text files, but it's going to get you to the right spot in the PDF. I can also tell you with like great pride, the amount of time our internal team spent building this. There's no AI out there that is a specialized transcript or document analysis tool that is doing the citations as accurately and thoroughly as Transcript Genius does. So that's a great question. Let me go to some others. How many transcripts can you interrogate at once? Jillian, this is a great question. You're going to see a capacity limiter here. And let me filter out by this case again. And you'll see that if I go to all three of these, that's great. If I add this fourth one, it's too much. This is an AI limitation. This is also a Transcript Genius limitation. AI can only do so much, and then we internally test that level, and we basically say, hey, look, once it gets to a certain level, the AI actually doesn't deliver the level of quality results that we're happy with, and so we prefer to prioritize accuracy and quality than we would to just churn out misinformation. And so right now, depending on the size, it's probably up to about 600 pages at once. The workaround that I just showed, which I'd be happy to show you again one-on-one, if you'd like, is, to me, actually, I would do that even if it could handle much more at once. I like having that control over the certainty of the answer and the information that it's giving me. Lori asked, can you interrogate a doctor's transcript and his medical record? I don't see why not. If that medical record is a readable PDF, if it's OCR, you can upload it, just like I did with the complaint over here. Do I still have it open? I don't have the complaint open over here, but yeah, I mean, there's no reason for you not to. If I go back here, this is obviously not a medical record that I was showing you. It's the complaint itself. But a PDF that is interrogatable is a PDF. And so let's say that was the doctor's record, and then this was the doctor's deposition. I would be able to interrogate them both at once. So yeah, absolutely. AI understands the difference. If I ask it to identify those different documents, it would say, this one is the deposition of the doctor, and this appears to be the corresponding record associated with this doctor or his or her expert report. So yeah, go for it. But again, happy to show you that in real time as well, if you'd like to do that stuff. Julia, I think I've answered this a couple of times about the security, and it's a really important question. So I love that it keeps getting asked. I'm just going to pull it up here so you can see. And if you want, trust.steno.com broadcasts the security of this product, and it is second to none. We actually have a third party that monitors it, and you can see, it's almost by the minute that these different controls and securities are being monitored and checked. So great question there. I think Thomas already answered this question. If you have any other questions on this, let me know. But cost is a big one. Security is a huge one. Thoroughness of answers paired with the quality of the citations. I mean, other AI products do things very well. This is designed to do this thing extremely well, and that's exactly what it does. That's the big difference. And again, I think cost is a big one, especially for solo practitioners or small, mid-sized law firms that don't really want to add another enterprise-level software tool to their account. If you take a deposition through Steno, you get access to this with no additional cost. And then, yeah, Jill, but we talked about this question, law and motions and isolating those pages. Absolutely. Give it that context and it'll be able to handle it. And yes, Adam, this is the same question. I love it. Upload whatever third-party transcripts you like. Transcript Genius is obviously automatically does a lot for you when you book a job through Steno, but we know that not every single transcript associated with a case might come from Steno. So we have the ability for it to handle that as well. Love these questions. Will this also work with trial transcripts? Yes. It's going to understand trial transcripts. I mean, it's going to understand, obviously, the flow of a trial is going to be different than a deposition. It'll understand, I mean, I uploaded a motion for summary judgment plus the hearing on the motion for summary judgment, and it really understands the nuances and that there's multiple lawyers talking and maybe multiple witnesses. So yes, also Steno, court reporters obviously transcribe trials as well, like, and handle that. So Vanessa, great question. What else do we have here? Is there any way to export the answers to the interrogations, then cutting and pasting into Word? Really good question. Right now, what we do, and this is part of sort of the security set, we haven't tinkered with the output format recently, because when I go back over here, I'm gonna actually just open a new interrogation so you can see. If I go over here and I ask it a question, it's going to give me the answer. When I leave this, it's over with, right? We want, like, the security side of this matters tremendously. And so this actually isn't a genuine export. I mean, this is a true copy and paste function. There's nothing that's downloaded into a PDF. It really is as simple as clicking this copy and paste and taking it into whatever document that you like. Now, one thing I would like to say about that, Bradley, is if you're interested, if you have a specific use case or a flow that I would love to actually see that, because I understand the value of being able to export it or download it to a PDF or download it to a text file or whatever it might be. Right now, it's just the copy and paste, because once that interrogation is over with, it's done. So if you have any other questions about that, Bradley, or want to show me what you're interested in, I'm going to put my name in the chat, and we can sort of chat after this. Great questions. Eric, okay, but the case is not in Transcript Genius, in the filters case dropdown. Can I add a placeholder case so I can do the analysis? Love that question too. This is what I think you're talking about, Eric. You've uploaded a transcript and it's not being associated with a case. So I'm looking at my uploaded transcripts right now. I go to these three dots and I can edit which case it's associated with. And I could rename that case, and then I could associate other transcripts with it. So yeah, you have control over that as well. Hopefully that answers your question. If it doesn't, let me know. Is there a way to manually add a case to start? Oh, Eric, yeah, you asked another question about manually adding a case. I don't know who your if you have an account executive through Steno but you can either reach out to them or again, I'm going to put my email in the chat and we'll make sure we get you the answer on that. Have I answered all of these questions? I think I have. We're coming up on the top of the hour. I'm hopefully I don't know whose questions I did miss, if I missed any. Here's my name and my email, and I would be happy to show people. Okay, I got all my other questions. That's amazing. I feel like I just spend an hour talking at a screen and I never really know. Anyway, if anyone has any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Like as a lawyer, I love jumping in and being really specific with people's questions about trial prep or whatever it is that they're working on. So don't hesitate to reach out on that front. You're going to see these prompts, the downloadable guide at some point. I don't know. Maybe that just, where does it pop up? It pops up or it's there for you, but download the handout. So many great prompt ideas. If you have other specific ones that aren't addressed in there, reach out to me or anyone at Steno, especially if you're using Steno already, and we'll show you, we can tailor some for you. Yeah, okay, so check out the handout tab, guys. It's up there on the right side. The handout tab will have the prompts to build a winning trial binder. Download it if you like. And we're 3 minutes from the top of the hour. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, I'm just going to hang for another moment in case some people trickle in. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining. You'll get a copy of this, or this will be made available to you if you want to see it again, because it was just that captivating. Or if you want to hear more sort of related content and discussions about AI and the law and other technology, listen to our podcast. You're seeing that pop up. This is our most recent episode. Marla was an amazing guest. We have really cool, thoughtful guests across the country who are talking about like the intersection of law and technology and a lot of AI chat. So if you're looking for something else to listen to, please, please, please give her a listen. That was a great episode. And thank you all for joining today. I'm going to stay for a moment longer, and I guess that'll be it. Thank you, guys.